Hello and welcome back to live coverage of the Apex Gaming $5,000 Open. I'm Candy, joined by Ross Merriam. So hi, Ross.
Hi, Ross.
These players are not only playing for $5,000, but the top two finishers qualify for both the Apex Invitational as well as the Regional Championship in Atlanta later this year. Ross, aside from the qualifications, what is the payout for this event today?
So we've got $1,500 to first place, $700 to second, $500 to our third and fourth place finishers, $250 to our fifth through eighth place, and then the 9 to 16s just out of the cusp of those elimination rounds are going to walk away with $100 in cash. Added up, it's $5,000. And we got a 2K tomorrow, Pioneer.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
We're going to be bringing you coverage of that tomorrow. So this is a whole weekend event here. You know, we've been doing events for about a year now for Apex, maybe a little more, and every single time we come up here, the space grows and the event grows. It's only getting bigger and better. So we wanted to let you all know exactly what is going on this weekend and what makes this event so special, and try to entice you maybe to come to our next one, because the next one of these is going to be August 12th to the 13th.
Yeah, and so all of our events are, for the time being, are going to be centered here in Caldwell, Ohio at the Apex Gaming home store here. They have recently renovated some space next door to just be a huge open area. And so we're able to seat, you know, like 400-ish people in the two rooms that we have. And we're also just like running tons of side events on top of the 5K and the Pioneer 2K, just like leaving us with, you know, a ton of activities to do if you are going to come, even if you don't want to play the main event.
Yeah, we've got a modern Reese-Q firing today for players that didn't do so well in the main event. Tomorrow there will be similarly a Pioneer Reese-Q. Give players another shot at making the regional championship. We've got, you know, Lord of the Rings pre-release events going on because that was just released this weekend. We've got Mystery Convention Edition booster drafts. We've got Chaos Collector booster sealed. You know, and we've got a command zone going on all day. So if commander's your thing, there is space for you as well. Side events all weekend, fill and fire events if you just want to play more modern Pioneer or booster draft on demand as well. So this is, you know, this is a growing into a convention size space. We want to keep growing it, get people here. So make sure you go to apexgaming.gg and get all the information for the next one of these weekends so you can make it out yourself. And once again, that is August 12th to the 13th, the week after Gen Con.
Yeah, and we'll also be posting up deck lists from the event up on apexgaming.gg if that's your thing. We're going to be posting those after the event, since this is a closed deck list tournament. Now, as far as prizes are concerned, I do want to take a minute to talk about the prizes, because outside of the 5K cash today and the 2K cash tomorrow, one of our sponsors is Ultimate Guard, and they have given us just a ton of stuff to give away, not just at this weekend's events, but at every Apex Invitational qualifier that's run in the area by all of our satellite stores. The things that we're going to be giving away include sets of katana sleeves. This is maybe the best sleeve on the market. I think most people who've used them before and have used sleeves a lot, Ross, myself included, think that the katanas are the best. We're giving away 4 packs of the Cortex sleeves as well. We have 2 of the Boulder deck boxes, 1 of the Sidewinder deck boxes, and then last but not least, the Archive. And this is just to top 8, right? We have a ton of the Ultimate Guard swag on the prize wall, which we'll talk about in a second, but this is basically the swag bag that every store that runs an AIQ will receive to give to their top 8 competitors, as well as grab bags, you know, for the rest of the field. So huge shout out to Ultimate Guard for being one of our sponsors here on the Apex Gaming series, and looking forward to working with them much more in the future. As far as the prize wall is concerned, I do want to take a moment to talk about this, because when I walked in, I was blown away. And we'll try to get like maybe like a short video or like some pictures to post up on Twitter for you, but there's like 8 giant full art cards.
Yeah,
there's
an Emery, we got a Tyvar, we got a giant Phyrexian script Elishnorn.
Yeah, Mother Machine's the one that everyone wants right now.
Yeah, we've got the other Elishnorn as well. I think there might be a Shieldred. Yeah, a lot of really cool ones. I've got my eye on the Emery. I'm collecting my prize wall tickets.
Look, this is, it's easier to win these than it is to win the big prize at Chuck E. Cheese, okay?
Bam.
This is, you know, me and Ross did 1 draft last night. I got 3,300 tickets or so, and one of the big cards is 40,000. So one draft only got me, you know, about 8% of the way there, but it's one booster
Let's do
draft.
10 more drafts.
Right. But one of the cool things
They're
that
on
Apex,
demand all weekend.
that's true. One of the cool things that Apex
take a
is
short
also
break.
offering. You're working. You're working. Players who participate in the 5K and the 2K, they can have their prize payout instead of cash. They can get a significant bump and get prize wall tickets instead. So instead of, you know, winning $250 cash, maybe you can parlay that into one of those giant cards and take home and put it in your stream room or something. Because that's what I want to do.
Yeah, maybe I'll play that Pioneer event tomorrow.
You have to be in here. You have to be in here.
We got Rob here. He can fill in.
Okay. All right. Well, so the players here are still technically in round number 3, but it should be turning over here shortly, and then we'll be moving on to round number 4 after that. But we didn't want to leave y'all hanging for too long.
Looks like we're waiting on one match to finish up, and then we will turn over to round 4. But I do have a, you know, top of the metagame breakdown. We've got 8 players who are 3-0 so far in this tournament, making a very good start. Need a couple more, could potentially double draw at 5-0 if they get that far. And those 8 players are Michael Likens. That is the player we saw in round 2 playing the Kragenwick Cremator combo deck. We got D'Artagnan Fell, who we saw last round playing Is It Scam. We got Travis Brown playing the Mono White Hammer deck with Forge Anew. Eric Rose playing the Yawgmoth deck that has a bunch of new cards in it. The Delighted Halfling, as well as Orcish, keep forgetting the second word, Todd.
Bowmaster.
Orcish Bowmaster.
He'd be shooting them arrows.
Yeah. The 4 3-0s that we have yet to see on camera today, so we're going to be seeing a couple of them coming up here in round 4. We do have Gabriel Abadi playing Yawg, a more stocked list, and then Jacob Fumich, Chase Swick, and Josh Engel all playing Creativity. So that was our most popular deck in the room. I had a tally of 9 total in our 68 player field. 3 of them making that 3-0 start. So, you know, a popular deck for a reason, because it is performing quite well so far.
Nice. Okay, well, that is kind of the rundown of what's happening so far after 3 rounds. We do have 7 rounds of Swiss and the top 8, so 4 rounds of Swiss and those 3 top 8 rounds coming at you today. Looks like we're going to be eating dinner kind of late today, bud.
You know, if hopefully the rounds go a little bit more like round 3 once we get to the top 8. If we just breeze through the top 8 in 45 minutes, we could be there by 6 o'clock.
Look, all we need is scam.
Well, one scam deck in our top 8. So maybe D'Artagnan will just tear through this tournament and let us get a nice early dinner.
Yeah. So a few people confused about new cards being legal in this tournament. So WotC, I don't know exactly when, sometime in the last year, said essentially that if the cards are able to be drafted or played with in your local event, like a pre-release, they are legal. They might be hard to get. They might, you know, weirdly influence the tournament of that weekend or whatever. But, you know, most of the time, nothing really bad is going to happen. It doesn't really matter. This weekend, you know, we are doing a modern event. And so the impact of the set is not huge on the format. But it has already shown up today in the One Ring out of Joshua Dell's Tron deck. So
we saw him
interesting to
draw
see.
a lot of cards out of that.
Yeah, interesting to see which cards from the new Lord of the Rings sets will show up in modern. So yeah, very excited. Looks like the players here are starting to shuffle around for round number 4, so we should be bringing that to you in just a moment. So did you tell the director which match we want to watch this round, or who we want to watch this round?
So if a body is paired against one of those Creativity players, I would like to see that. I don't know how the pairing shook out, but that's 2 players we haven't seen yet. Quality players playing good decks, and that is a very interesting matchup. It goes very long, back and forth. It'll be a very good one to watch.
Yeah. That one is one we can definitely watch for sure.
Who's Gabe Abadi paired against?
Yeah, perfect.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
let's get them under camera. There are players that have
the Abadi Bros playing against Fumich, and we're gonna have them as our primary. That sounds great.
Yeah, Amin Abadi was on Tron this weekend. I don't think had a particularly good day with the Tron deck. We had 3 players on Tron, which I was a little surprised by. That's about 4.5%.
Yeah. All right. Well, while we get that set up, I just want to once again thank Apex for hosting us. Thanks to our sponsors, Ultimate Guard, G Fuel Energy, as well as Wings, etc. You know, the events that we're building here and building towards, I think, are going to shape the essence of competitive Magic in this region for a long time to come. I'm very much looking forward to coming down to Caldwell for essentially every 5K for the foreseeable future. You know, I've been walking around talking to a lot of the players, the regulars, as well as the people who are showing up for the first time. I've been talking a little bit to the commander area players and stuff, and the vibes are immaculate. People love this, and I love it too. And for me, this is what Magic is about, just like a gathering of players, like-minded people that all want to compete inside this beautiful game that we have, and it's just a pleasure to be here.
So looking at the deck list for our first match, Gabriel Abadi playing Yawgmoth, playing a somewhat newer teched out list. No Lord of the Rings cards, but is playing 4 copies of our Boreal Grazer over some of the other mana creatures, and that really does help you out in a Ren and 6 matchup that he's going to be facing. You know, you hate to lose those mana creatures to the Ren and 6, so for those 2 Ignobles as his mana creature options, and to go with our Boreal Grazer, we see 3 copies of Colony Garden and 2 Golgari Rot Farm. 2 great lands to put into play off of that turn 1 our Boreal Grazer trigger. The extra plant token can mean an extra card to start going off with Yawgmoth. The Rot Farm obviously like helps this mana hungry deck get a lot of mana.
I was gonna say, man, Fury makes people make some strange deck building decisions.
Yep. So I like his list, especially in this matchup. Looking at Fumich's though, looks like playing a 5-color build, has 4 Leyline Bindings. That I also like in this matchup. It's a card that can answer, you know, early Undying creatures without the Undying coming into play. We can answer a Yawgmoth, we can answer a Grist when that's on the battlefield, so that should also play quite well. But yeah, nothing out of the ordinary here from Fumich's list, just pretty stock creativity.
All right, well, I know we already talked a lot about the prizes that everyone is playing for today, including our top 8, all the Ultimate Guard swag. But the one thing that I did forget to mention this round when we were talking about it is the winner of every AIQ during Season 3 will receive an Expressive Iteration playmat. I know many of you, including myself, absolutely love Expressive Iteration, and so this is your chance to get one of these limited edition. There was only 50 printed. 40 are being given away for the AIQs, and then we got 10 that we might do grab bags, we might put them on the prize wall, we're not sure yet, but these are essentially very difficult to get unless you win an AIQ, so make sure to
gorgeous.
Yes, love the art on Expressive Iteration, an iconic Magic card. Unfortunately got banned in Pioneer, but still running strong in Modern and looks, you know, excellent obviously every time it's cast. So Expressive Iteration playmat, how you get those? Win your AIQ. How do you find your AIQ? Go to apexgaming.gg and look for the complete list of all the stores running AIQs in the Ohio greater area. Looks like the players are ready down in the feature match area, so we'll head on down and we'll take a peek at them as they are shuffling up for game number 1. We're in round number 4. Both these players 3-0. Fumich on your left playing Creativity, and Body on your right playing that new build of Golgari Yawgmoth. We'll see who takes it down.
Yeah, this is a big match at 3-0. Once you get to 4-0, you're in winning in territory. If fifth win, you can probably double draw. Lose and win, you single draw. So you got 2 chances, and you're feeling pretty good whenever you've got that one to give in the bag, and you're already in the winning in territory. So both players going to be trying real hard here, and this is going to be a close back and forth match. Both these decks can play very long games, draw a ton of cards. And it's going to be really imperative for a Body to, you know, make use of all of his cards and maximize the value from them. This Yawgmoth deck is, you know, one of those decks that the players that know how to play it really, really well are, you know, going to pick up a lot more wins than the players that are just playing it at sort of medium strength.
You know, Jesse Liu actually piloted Golgari Yawgmoth to a W in our Season 2 Invitational just at the end of last year.
And we saw him play circles around people.
Lights out.
It was very impressive.
Masterful. We'll see if Abadi can do the same. I'm not sure if Abadi is known for playing Golgari Yawgmoth, so it'll be interesting to see how perhaps a newcomer plays the deck and picks it up and what sequences they look for and lean into. While Fumich is taking a mulligan as well with 5-color creativity. Low resources though on that side, not a big deal. You're just essentially looking for some lands, maybe a Wrenn and 6, a little bit of interaction, and then that big payoff in creativity.
Yeah, both the Body brothers seem to hop around. They don't stay on one deck for very long, so they're very much, you know, we play enough Magic to stay on top of the metagame. We always want to play a deck that's going to be advantaged against the field, and Yawgmoth having a good day so far today. It's one of our more popular decks, and there are 2 players at 3-0 with it, a Body being one of them, Eric Rose, who we saw last round, being the other. So looks like a Body did make a good choice here, and now both players mulliganing to 5.
Yeah, so I think a low resource game is going to favor the creativity deck. So the fact that both players are mulliganing to 5, I think, is bad for a Body. But if you're a Body going to 5, you're just very happy that your opponent's also going to 5.
I would say the low resource game favors the creativity deck if and only if they stick a Wrenn and 6.
Sure.
Without Wrenn and 6, I'd rather be on the Yawgmoth side. With Wrenn and 6, I'd much rather be on the creativity side.
I kind of feel like Yawgmoth plays very similarly to, I don't know, Affinity is something that I would maybe put it towards, where like all of your pieces are kind of reducing all of your other pieces' costs, thanks mostly to the Convoke of Court of Calling. And you sometimes, I mean, sometimes just the Wall of Roots is enough to fuel the Court of Calling, but sometimes it's not, you know. And if it dies, like, you know, you're just left with essentially nothing because you just have like lands and a bunch of mana producers.
Don't think there's a Wrenn and 6 in Fumich's hand there. I see creativity, some lands, a spell. Oh no, there it is. It was the last card.
Okay. Looks like a Body's going down to 4 as well. So Fumich's going to put it on the bottom.
That's game.
Yeah.
Wrenn and 6, too good. And now, you know, even though the regular mana creature like a Birds of Paradise would not be particularly good against the Wrenn and 6, Arboreal Grazer really not very good when you're starting on so few cards.
That's true. But, you know, a Body can choose to just put it back on the bottom of the deck. So let's look for 2 lands, 2 spells is all Body wants, I think. I'd go with 2 lands, 2 mana creatures as ideal. And we got to put 3 back. Colony Garden.
It's a lot of
calling endurance. Yeah, this looks like another 1-lander. I don't think you can go to 3 cards though. Oh, actually, I see Colony Garden in a swamp. So it looks like we have stuff to do.
So yeah, it looks like we're keeping the 2 lands in endurance and a Body just wavering on what the 4th card he wants to keep is. I think that was an Eldritch Evolution.
That's what I see as well.
Yeah. And yeah, keeping the evolution. So could potentially be trying to set up, you know, turn 3, end of turn endurance, untap, turn it into a Yawgmoth, and hope I can, you know, have some other stuff around.
We need to get an Elliot Raft token up on here. That man was a plant in the judge program for a long time. Finds Golgari Rock Farm off the top, just like RGD Draft from 2006, undoing one of those mulligans in a hurry.
Yeah, Rot Farm is definitely probably the best card in the Body's deck after he mulligans a bunch, so that will help out. I'll also give him another plant token, but yeah, this Wrenn, yeah. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, Fumich says, I don't care about your plant token, I need lands.
Maybe a Juke trying to get him to ping the plant so he could pressure it with a Stringaroo Geist or something off the top. We got a plant.
Oh, yeah.
Serving for 0.
Get in there.
It's about sending a message, Ross. All right, Fumich got the land from the Wrenn and 6 last turn. Not really under any threat from a Body.
A Body drew a Yawgmoth naturally, so if Fumich lets these plants live, okay, kills one of them. So we can just jam a Yawgmoth that's gonna draw a card off of this plant.
It looks like he has a Bolt in hand, so he can maybe kill the plant in response to the Yawgmoth.
Still getting a card then.
He has creativity in hand too, so next turn could just go ahead and fetch up the Dwarven Mine and then go for creativity for 1. That would make him lose the Yawgmoth as well as just
I like the jam. You're on a low mulligan, you just gotta play your cards. Okay, does Bolt in response.
Oh, it didn't do it in response. Waited till the end step. So maybe a misstep from Fumich. You know, if he kills it before the Yawgmoth comes down, he's able to prevent that card draw. Because the Yawgmoth doesn't physically need a target to draw the card. You can sack it for no target and draw a card.
Yeah, Fumich, I don't think was played a little too quickly there, letting the Yawgmoth in, and then realized that he needed to deal with the plant in order to have this creativity into Archon deal with the Yawgmoth. And if you had realized that to begin with, you definitely want to bolt before the Yawg. What are we stopping on?
He was like shortcutting his Wrenn and 6, but I don't think he actually picked up a land. So I think just a little bit of sloppy play from Fumich, but it was actually to his detriment. So we'll just say chose no targets for the Wrenn and 6. No big deal. Here's creativity. We're going to shuffle the deck in, but I guess he's gonna do it to kill. He's killing the dwarf in response, so there's no creativity. That's such a sick play. I didn't even see it. He was able to flash in the endurance and then kill the token.
The evoke trigger on the stack, sack it to the Yawgmoth. And these are the kinds of things you need to know to play this Yawgmoth deck.
Yeah, I would have conceded already. I would have been dead. So
and now he finds a Yawgmoth, has another Colony Garden. That's extra cards. We can start attacking down this Wren. Also, all the fetches are in the graveyard, or aren't in the graveyard anymore because of the endurance.
Yep. And
okay, a body just saying, I don't care about the Wren. I want to kill you.
I don't hate it, right? Like you just gotta at some point just ignore planeswalkers because they're too hard to kill. They take too many resources to kill.
Wow, that endurance is huge. I don't know how much gas Fumich has left.
Well, he has expressive iteration, but he's not able to go for the creativity again this turn, I don't think.
What Triumph is that he just tapped? A rock?
Xander's Lounge maybe, or
Xander's.
I know they're all tapping for red. There's only a handful.
Finds the second iteration, a land and a Transmogrify. Yeah, gets the Transmog in hand, but that's not that good in the face of this Yawgmoth and plant token.
No, it's not. And that's honestly one of the downsides of the builds of creativity nowadays in Modern is that they rely a lot on the Dwarven Mines to be targets for their spells, which means you kind of turn on removal spells, but you also make Yawgmoth into an absolute monster.
Yeah. Interesting that Fumich plays the fetch land before the iteration, so maybe he has no plans of playing this iteration at all. Oh, okay. I think we're seeing a dig for a Leyline Binding with this. So wanted to play the fetch so we could leave up white, because the Sacred Foundry is the only untapped white land to fetch.
All right, so heads up fetching there from Fumich. Gonna go for a second expressive iteration. Finds Teferi, Fable, and a land, so not able to play anything off of it for the free spells, and only gets to keep one of them. My guess, probably gonna keep Teferi, so we can maybe go like bounce the Yawgmoth at some point and then try to combo through. But I think that's gonna be relatively difficult. All right, so Teferi gets exiled. He's going to keep the Fable instead. That's fine. Ren 6. Going to get back a land. And Teferi stays exiled. Back of Body's way. He can do some sacking during the end step if he wants to grow the Yawgmoth. Can kill the Dwarf. Draw a card. Effectively undone all the mulligans that he had so far at the earliest point in the game.
Is that another Yawgmoth?
I think it is. So we can kind of draw most of our deck here. 17 draws.
Yeah, we're in Yawgmoth's bargain territory.
Here we go. And this should be a pretty easy kill from this point. Starts with Wall Roots. Going to use a man off of it. Yawgmoth. And now we get to bounce them back and forth up to like 16 times. But we're going to attack first. Get in some damage.
Put you to 8. That is... So the Yawgmoth's going to untap over the course of this loop, but you lose the Yawgmoth's ability to convoke, but that doesn't matter. We can still chord for 3, and at this point you just need to chord for 2 to get whatever the extra win condition a body is chosen to play. They all cost 2.
All right, so now they're just going to keep bouncing. They're at this point they're effectively the same thing, so he doesn't need to really keep moving the token. He's demonstrated the loop.
Yeah.
He finds a land to play for turn. That's going to allow him to get maybe Blood Artist, or he's going to evolution for a kill.
Yeah, there's a Blood Artist in a body's list, so that should be what he tutors for as soon as he finds it.
Okay, we can play another Wall of Roots and then use that plus the Rot Farm to play the evolution. I think that's what we're going to go for. And now we kind of know the shields are down, right? Because Yawgmoth will be long dead. And so we're going to sack that. It's a 0, but we get to go get +2, so we go get the Blood Artist and then chain them back and forth forever until you're dead. GG. 1-0 a body on the Molda 4. The Molda 4. Do you not think he is hype as a mug right now?
Yeah, that was impressive stuff. Found some goods off the top. The natural Yawgmoth, to be able to get that down, and then using the endurance perfectly. Really hard to beat the Renin 6 Molda 5 on a Molda 4, but.
All right, well, while they are shuffling up here and sideboarding for game number 2, I'm going to let Ross take a look at their sideboard and give you his expert analysis. Ross, who's doing what?
Well, on a body side, I see 1 Crime Punishment, 3 Thoughtseize, 2 Fatal Push, 2 Force of Vigor, 1 Phyrexian Metamorph, 3 Endurance, 1 Haywire Might, 1 Ratchet Bomb, and 1 Shieldred the Apocalypse.
So no Orvars, eh?
No, Metamorph is a tutorable way to get an Archon if they just go for 1. So I would still bring that in. I obviously love the Thoughtseizes in this matchup. Ratchet Bomb is normally a card I don't like that much. It can stop a creativity, but it just kind of sits there, and they're usually able to just deal with it by the time they need to go off. So I'm usually not a fan of Ratchet Bomb. We'll see if a body disagrees. And then I kind of like the Shieldred. I think this is a matchup where you just want powerful cards to draw as the game goes along.
Okay. So while a body is contemplating that, Ross, tell me what Fumage has on his side of the table, and what do you think he's going to be bringing in?
I see 3 Change the Equation, 1 Elish Norn Mother of Machines, 2 Flusterstorm, 1 Hallowed Moonlight, 2 March of Otherworldly Light, 3 Nature's Claim, 1 Plains, and 2 Veil of Summer. I like the marches. I like exile-based removal. Hallowed Moonlight is very good against the tutors.
Okay.
It can also stop an Undying creature and a low cost as a cantrip, so I like the Hallowed Moonlight. And I like to change the equations. It basically counters everything except Yawgmoth or Cord for Yawgmoth. But countering all the other stuff is still quite good.
Okay. Well, as those players are finalizing their sideboard plans, just want to shout out our sponsors here, Ultimate Guard, providing us with a nice little swag bag for all of the AIQs, including the Archive deck box going to first place. We have G Fuel Energy Formula keeping us all juiced up. I'm drinking the Sour Patch Blue Raspberry right now. It's pretty good. And then last but not least, want to shout out Wings Etc., the place that Ross and I eat 2 or 3 times every time we come. It's pretty good. We like it.
Yeah. The big question here for Fumage is, does he know a body's list, and a body is not playing very many mana creatures? Because his lightning bolts are not particularly good.
Sure. I mean, that's maybe a good reason, since everything's either Undying or are an Arboreal Grazer.
And honestly, I could see a body boarding out the 2 Ignobles that are in the deck and just leaving himself with 0 1 toughness mana creatures.
They get bricked by a Wrenn and 6.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw how awkward Wrenn and 6 looked that game. A body just ignored it. Normally, Wrenn and 6 one of the better cards against Yawgmoth for pinging all those early mana producers. So, good call on that. Fumage with a quick mulligan. We're going to go to 6, and a body tanking on his 7. Think.
I see a Grazer. I see Yawgmoth. I see Rot Farm. As long as there's an untapped green source, this hand looks great.
All right. Well, at this point, I feel like a body has kept getting down to the nitty gritty on the life pad there, doing the backside of the last page, I guess, huh? The cardboard one. Or is it just yellow paper?
Yeah, it's just a yellow pad.
All right. Egg on my face. All right, Fumage going to go to 5. A lot of mulligans so far in this match for both players, but Fumage here with his 4th mulligan of the match so far.
And it's easy to, lament your bad luck when you're Fumage, but you lost to a mulligan to 4. You just got Napoleon blown apart.
You lost to Golgari Rot Farm.
Yeah.
I think Golgari Rot Farm was the hard carry in that game, acting as 2 lands. Wasn't even in the opening hand, just peeled off the top for the second land. Just absolutely gorgeous with the Colony Garden.
It was also the second plant token that was necessary.
Yep.
It was, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Those bounce lands. Oof.
They were some of my favorite lands ever when they were in limited, and probably a little too good for limited, right?
So, turn 2 Signet, turn 3 float 3 mana, play bounce land, compulsive research myself.
Yeah, that was a very common line in all Ravnica drafts, and it was great. All right, Fumage here is going to keep on 5, putting back a couple. Looks like a Lightning Bolt and a Teferi and some lands, maybe a Wrenn 6 over there. It's hard to tell exactly. I believe that's right. There's a white card hanging out in there too. You have to imagine that's Leyline Binding, but
Or
maybe
March.
Yeah, it could be March of Otherworldly Light. All right, let's see back, and we're off. Fumage's going to be on the play here for game number 2. Leads with Arid Mesa and a pass. Body's Way. Draws Yawgmoth for the turn. Gonna start off with Arboreal Grazer into Golgari Rot Farm. We're ramping. We're zooming.
Turn 1 blocks diamond, go.
Old Blocks Diamond. Maybe my favorite nickname for a card of all time.
It's really good.
All right, we're going to go get a Jetmir Garden on Fumage's side of things.
I do see the Metamorph in a body's hand, so he brought that one in, as I suspected.
I have to imagine it feels great to bounce a Colony Garden with a bounce land, right? It's just got to be like a wonderful feeling.
Yeah. especially when yours a deck that can turn the plant into a card so easily.
All right, so here's Wrenn and 6 on turn 2 with a fetch land in the graveyard.
And look at the power of our Boiler Grazer here. If this was a Birds of Paradise or a Noble Hierarch,
Maybe
the Wrenn and
game
6
over.
would be devastating.
Yeah, now gets a land back, great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's undoing the mulligan to 5, but it could always do that. The strength of Wrenn and 6 comes from the fact that A, it's hard to kill, but B, it's also interactive on top of being that card advantage engine.
So I see Yawgmoth, Yawg, Endurance, another Grazer, not a great draw. The second one's usually pretty bad. Is that an Eldritch Evolution? Between the Young Wolf and the Grazer?
So I see Grazer, Endurance, Evolution, Young Wolf, Yawgmoth, and then I couldn't get a look at the last one.
It wasn't Evolution, it was Strengergeist.
Okay, so here's the Geist. We have a black floating, but it's burned. Now we're going back Fumish's way. Interesting he didn't want to attack the Yawgmoth, but I get it.
Especially because he could metamorph it next turn and deal with the Wrenn. Now Wren's going to plus to 5, and your potential 2 guys still don't do it.
Well, at some point, maybe Fumish just made a body just made a conscious decision that I'm just like never going to pressure a Wrenn 6.
Yeah.
I built my deck in such a way where I can ignore it. The damage to you matters more. The backup Wrenn 6s will just replace themselves. You've already gotten the land to undo the mulligan, so like, you know, get out of here. I don't care about you.
And the pressure on the life total makes Fumich get a basic mountain, which is usually not great for their mana.
All right, third land still has the Wrenn 6 to activate. We're going to go for a Teferi Time Raveler. Does the body have response? Probably not. Probably just going to let it resolve. Decides to go for the Endurance to shuffle a land back in. I guess to mess with the Wrenn 6 a little bit. Feels a bit iffy to me, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Teferi Time
Especially when
Raveler.
you have the Yawg in hand, like you just wait. The Yawg could turn that into a card.
Looks like we're going to
just draw a
take
land.
up with the Teferi, and you know, Fumich, if he doesn't have a land to get back here, looks like he doesn't.
Right. So a body doing that because Fumich hadn't plussed the Wrenn yet.
Okay.
So effectively getting a Wrenn activation out of it. There is third land, but 4th mana for a body, a very important draw with the Yawgmoth in hand.
Now, I would like to say that Fumich purposely chose not to play his 4th land for the turn. That 4th land is a Dwarven Mine. Wanted to, I guess, kind of surprise a body with the land plus creativity potentially next turn, or Transmogrify. But a body with the Yawgmoth here might be able to put a stop to it.
Well, the Teferi can bounce the Yawgmoth even if it gets attacked. Well, okay. So we can attack the Teferi down to 2.
Yeah, we can sack before attacks and get a counter on it.
Yeah, that's what I like. I like Yawg. Sack the Strengergeist with no targets from the Yawg. Yep. Love it. Love it.
Heads up play from a body. We're going to put a counter on it.
Your card. I'll turn your Teferi off. So now I know I have Yawg active for next turn, so I'm not going to get creativity. Not that that's a huge deal when I have a Metamorph, but we also have an Undying creature for next turn, so really imperative for Fumich to have an answer to this Yawgmoth, and I'm not sure he does.
Yeah, I mean, his Teferi was kind of a preemptive answer, right? He wanted to even plus it. Oh, he does have Leyline Binding.
There's a Leyline Binding, yep.
I don't know if he has creativity in hand, though, so we could go main phase fetch, just like a Dwarven Mine or a tap land, plus on the Wrenn 6, get it back, go for a binding on the Yawgmoth. The moment he goes for binding on Yawgmoth, I have to imagine a body's going to draw a card off of the Arboreal Grazer, and he could maybe draw 2, go -1, Grazer targets the Strengergeist, and then the Strengergeist gets sacked, comes back with a counter and draw 2.
Yeah, definitely want to draw the 2 there.
All right, here's the 2-mana Leyline Binding.
Yeah, red, green, white from the garden, island from the steam vent, so that's 4 types.
Yep. All right, so we're going to do the trick. We're going to draw a card, shrink the Geist, remove the Undying. We get to sack it, target nothing.
It'll be untapped when it comes back, Gabe.
Yep.
Not that that matters.
And it'll have a counter on it.
Oh, see? Looked like we went to go draw the other card off the Geist, and then I don't think we drew the card.
I guess that means Strengergeist is just a 2/1 in play.
Yeah. Maybe you just didn't want to lose it to a bolt.
Yeah, fair enough. Finds a backup Yawgmoth, has Dried Arbor in hand as well. Can do the same trick this turn as last turn where he goes Yawgmoth, shrink my thing, attack your Teferi for 3, and get it out of here.
Yeah. Love it.
Yep. Draw a card, lose life. So good with Strangler Geist is Yawgmoth, right? Attacking the Teferi for 3. Let's see if he has a response.
Oh yeah, we could fetch for a dwarf and block it, but the Dryad Arbor can pick off that dwarf.
Looks like that's the play from Fumich. We'll see if a body wants to clear it before blocks.
Yeah. So yeah, let's target our Strangler Geist first, draw a card, then sack the Geist, draw a card.
No. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure the Teferi dies.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you gotta leave it in combat. You're right.
All right, another Leyline Bite draw. Fumich finds a backup answer to the second Yawgmoth. Tit for tat.
So now we gotta plus our Ren. Yeah, the basic mountain looking weird here. If that could have been, I guess you would have needed a black source, because it would be very nice if we could go Leyline Binding the Yawg, then fetch for another Dwarven Mine and creativity for 1. But instead, just gonna have to tick up, play our land. I mean, this does set up a creativity for 2 next turn, which could be very good.
All right, well, now Body has a tough choice because the Ren and 6 is at 7, threatening ultimate, but we did pick up a heater here. We have Boseiju who endures in hand. That can unlock Yawgmoth, and now with those 2 Undying creatures in play, if Fumich doesn't have an instant speed answer, a Body is going to be able to start churning, drawing cards, and maybe find the kill right now.
Yeah, we haven't played a land, so we could go for it. With a bunch of mana untapped, you could also just play the other Yawgmoth, attack the Ren, so there's no ultimate threat, and pass. And like, you have creativity covered, so what are you really scared about?
Okay.
Could have played the other Yawgmoth.
Well, one maybe wants to hold up like Quarter Calling for 1 or something. All right, so back Fumich's way. I think we're maybe paused at some point. Maybe a Body wants to do something inside combat, but maybe not. Or sorry, inside upkeep. Ren and 6 is going to minus targeting.
Yeah, we got another Ren here.
Ooh.
Looks like we just have... Is that just Dwarven Mine, Arid Mesa in hand?
I don't think our hand's very good. Remember, we did mold a 5 this game, and we have done a whole lot of nothing except play Ren and 6. Here is a Boseiju in response to the second Ren minus. Yawgmoth enters play. This is the second 1 damage effect going at the Strangler Geist, and now a Body can just sack Yawgmoth, shrink the Strangler Geist, draw a card, and then the creature will die from the 1 damage on it still, but then it'll come back undead.
So we got to make sure we remember that it's gonna die. So we're sacking Yawgmoth to put a counter on the Geist. The Yawgmoth's gonna come back first, then we'll resolve the Yawgmoth activation. That'll put a -1/+1 counter on Strangler Geist, which will take off the +1/+1 counter. Now it's a 2/1 with 1 damage on it. It dies to lethal damage, goes to the graveyard, triggers Undying, comes back as a 3/2 but untapped, and you draw 1 card.
Okay. Little Body actually picked up a second Boseiju as well, so worst case scenario.
Okay. I guess.
Okay, so he targets it with the Yawgmoth, and then in response, he goes for just sack Strangler Geist to kill it.
I think we just threw away the Geist. We got another Yawgmoth. I think this is a Body playing around creativity.
Okay, cool. Love it. All right, draw for turn. Has Yawgmoth, has it all rolled up. Let's see if he goes for the kill here. Has Evolution to sack 1. Fumich here.
Finds Blood Artist, and that should do it.
Dedge. GG. 4-0 gave him Body. 1 more, and he's punching his ticket into the top 8 of our $5,000 Modern Open. Congrats to him.
Yeah.
And good job.
It is very clear now after watching that match that Gabe knows how to play this young.
Oh, yeah. No, he was on top of like every little micro interaction. You know, we would look and we're like, oh, is this how this is going to play out? And then one of us would catch like, oh, what if he does this? And then he always found it, right?
Yep.
And that's always nice to see, especially when they're not like, you know, necessarily masters of that deck.